I'm Sabrina with Trobak Holistic Counselling. Each week I'm presenting a video with the City of Fort St. John around anxiety. This week what I would like to talk about is emotions like anxiety and what it feels like physically in our body. If you remember from what we talked about last week, our thoughts create our emotions. So what happens is we have a thought which creates emotions that we physically feel in our body. If we're not aware what it feels like in our body, it makes it very difficult to be able to identify and acknowledge these emotions. So what we want to do is think about what is going on in our body. We start with our head and work our way down. With our head, we want to think about how fast are our thoughts going? Can we stop our thoughts? Do we have a headache? Does our head feel tight or tense? What are our eyes doing? Are we avoiding eye contact? Do we have tears? What about our mouth? Do we have a dry mouth, a lump in our throat, a metallic taste in the back of our mouth? Do we have a tight jaw or clenching our teeth or grinding our teeth? What about our shoulders and our neck? Do they feel tight and the muscles are all tensed up? What about our chest? Is our heart racing really fast? Does it feel heavy and tight? Does it feel like something's almost sitting on it and it's hard to breathe? What about the stomach? Do we have a drop in our stomach or butterflies? Do we feel nauseous or have the need to go to the bathroom? And our hands. Are our hands tight and clenched fists? Or do we have sweaty palms? And our legs, what are our legs doing? Do they feel jittery and need to be constantly moving? Are our toes curled up really tight? Do we feel wobbly in the knees? We need to look at all these symptoms to figure out what the emotion is that's connected to it. There are a variety of different symptoms of anxiety. They can be physical symptoms, mental symptoms, as well as behavioral symptoms. I'm going to talk a bit about some of the symptoms of anxiety, but there are a significant amount. You can go to my website and go to my blog section where you can see a variety of symptoms of anxiety that is much more detailed than what I'm going to talk about today. Some general symptoms of anxiety, though, when we look at physical symptoms, are things like shortness of breath, shallow breathing or holding your breath, sighing, clenching your fists and your jaw, having tight shoulders and back, stomach issues, a lump in your throat, fidgeting and you can't really sit still, lightheadedness, poor circulation. For mental symptoms, this is connected to our thoughts. So do we have a lot of thoughts that are angry, negative, pessimistic, critical, repetitive thoughts or worry thoughts, racing thoughts where we can't slow our thoughts down, constant thoughts where it's just one after another? Do we catastrophize? That's taking something small and making it significantly bigger than what it actually needs to be. Being indecisive or easily distracted, having a hard time focusing. These are often symptoms of anxiety that we see that's happening in our brain. There's also behavioral symptoms of anxiety. This can include things like avoidance, anger, feeling sick, being really moody and having that mood go up and down many, many times throughout the day, having trouble sleeping, yelling, binge eating, drinking, or using of drugs, chewing your nails, having a very rigid belief system, smoking marijuana or cigarettes, blaming, excusing, justifying, denying, purging, cleaning, organizing, list making, checking things, counting things. These can all be symptoms of anxiety, as well as talking quickly or stuttering, or sometimes not being able to talk at all, avoiding eye contact, playing with your hair, picking at your skin, pulling your hair or on your eyebrows or eyelashes, as well as your hair on your head. So self-harming behaviors, biting your lip, these are all different symptoms of anxiety. Now, it's important to think about whether you think these are actual symptoms of anxiety or whether there's something else that's going on. For example, if I'm biting my lip because I have chapped lips because I was outside in the sun, it's probably not connected to anxiety. But if I find that I'm always kind of chewing on my lip or often chewing on my lip, it might be more connected to anxiety. So we need to figure out what our symptoms look like in order to be able to understand our anxiety. I'm also going to talk a bit about a coping strategy, as I do every week. This week's coping strategy is learning to control your thoughts. Like we've talked about in previous videos, the more we control our thoughts, the more we're able to control our emotions. So if we can control our thoughts, our emotions are going to come into check as well. Some ways that we can control our thoughts is we need to acknowledge them and connect them to any emotions. So for example, if I'm having a thought about my pet cat who's passed away and I feel sad, I need to just allow myself to feel sad. So acknowledge the emotion that's connected to the thought and allow yourself to feel it. Another strategy is reframing your thinking. So taking that thought and just changing it a little bit. One of the things we're hearing with people with COVID-19 is they're stuck inside. If we just switch that a little bit to staying safe inside, it definitely changes the feel of the statement. There's a difference between I am stuck inside and I am staying safe inside. One's going to create more anxiety or frustration. The other one is going to create more of a sense of confidence or calm. So we can just reframe that thinking a little bit. We also need to question and decide if that thought is valid or not. Are you making something bigger than what it really needs to be? And if it is a valid thought, then what do we do about it? How do we problem solve and create a plan? How do we challenge that thought to sort through it? So for example, if I'm thinking about going out for dinner with a friend after COVID-19 and there's a bit of opening up happening, but I'm having some anxiety about doing that, I'm going to problem solve and create a plan. So I may decide I'm going to go with one friend rather than a large group of people. I'm going to go to a restaurant that I know is practicing safety protocols. I might go on a Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock when it's not going to be as busy. If I drive up to a restaurant and it is really busy, I may choose to go to another place. So we're taking that problem that we're thinking about and we're solving it and creating a plan for it. That's going to help you learn to control your thoughts. The other one that's really important is for many people who have significant or severe anxiety, they have allowed their thoughts to go wild for a really long time. Their brain is always racing and always going all over the place. So part of what we need to do is learn how to rein in those thoughts and stop them. And it's okay to say, no, stop. I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm just focusing on whatever the task at hand may be. We need to continue to do that and challenge ourselves on stopping those thoughts. It takes practice. It's not going to happen in a day or two. It takes weeks, months, sometimes even several months to keep practicing. The more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. The other piece that's important to remember is we need to think about what's the message our thought is trying to tell us. So for example, if I'm thinking that someone is angry at me because they didn't wave at me when I saw them, I need to stop and think about, why am I going there? Why am I always jumping to the fact that they must be angry at me or not like me? Maybe that's more connected to my belief in myself, me feeling insecure, me having a feeling of rejection, me feeling not good enough. The message that's behind that thought can be very important in helping you challenge that thought as well. That's all I have for today. My website is trobakholistic.org. You can go there to the blog section, and the blog is called Symptoms of Anxiety. If you would like to find out more about those symptoms of anxiety, I will see you again next week. Take care and stay safe.